Hello everybody again, this is Terry Thiessen with So Let's Get Real. We started yesterday with our pilot show. I thought that went really well. There's a few things that I took notes on, but I'm excited about this journey that I'm going to take in this with this YouTube creation podcast thing. I'm reluctant to call it a podcast. I don't know what the benefits are of locking yourself into calling it something. So right now I'm just calling it a YouTube channel / podcast, but I don't know. Anyway, I got a lot to talk about. As I had said, I wanted to use this sort of as a political springboard for a mayor's run for Nelson, British Columbia, down the road. Just to rehash, I'm running as for an MLA position in the provincial election, as well as the MP in the federal election, both as an independent. I am not running as a libertarian anymore. I still have very strong libertarian policies, but one of my selling points that I will be using to talk about with the people of this area is that, hey, I don't answer to anybody else but you. You can tailor make me into being the best political tool to get what we need for everybody, right? You can't make everybody happy, but for everybody consensually as a whole, right? That yes, this is good for everybody. So that being said, this can also cross a lot of different types of content. I'm also a Christian, so some of that Christian content will come through because I believe eschatology is one of my things that I enjoy looking into, as terrifying as it is. So I believe that the Bible in itself is revealed prophecy, and that it contains prophecy unyet fulfilled. So there's a little bit of that. There's a little bit of seeing world events through biblical lens, and through the Christian view. But that's exactly how I have to run it, because I say I'm a libertarian, but I'm actually a theocratist. Theocratic. God the Father is the boss, and I take all authority, all direction from God the Father through His Son Jesus Christ under the power of the Holy Spirit. So you have that. So there can be some crossover there. Definitely, I'm a historian, so I like to analyze things through a historical lens as well, where we're at, geographically, geopolitically, historically, politically, all the many layers that make up our reality that we're dealing with right now. So, as I said before, it's kind of crazy to want to do anything right now in this sort of genre, because if my predictions are true, and of course I have to believe they are, that's why I'm acting the way I do, we're coming up to some rather hard times, both financially for people, and as far as having to stand up for ourselves against a increasingly totalitarian government. The NDPs in BC have gone nuts. They're off their rocker. Mike Eby, you're a bad man. Well, I shouldn't judge. Judge not unless you be judged by that same measure. So it's a tough call, calling people out. But I disagree strongly, Mike, with your policies and what you are doing, which means Brittany Anderson, who's now the MLA for Nelson, you're going to have to answer for your party. But then it's, you know what, you have BC United now, where it's a Uniparty system. And this is part of the problem that's going to make me unpopular in a lot of different circles, but very popular in some, is that I know the system is rigged. It's a Uniparty system. It doesn't matter who you vote in. It doesn't change anything. It's just the narrative will still continue on. Just, you know, it's the red-blue psyop. It's blue for a while. They're working that psyop. The Democrat, conservative. Well, because our conservatives are blue. Down the States is the Democrat. And then our liberals are red. And their Republicans are red. So that's a flip-flop. But both countries are now ready to do a flip-flop. We're going to go blue psyop, and they're going to go red psyop. Unless something really crazy happens down there now, because now what they're talking about, Biden being incompetent, which we know isn't Biden anyway. He hasn't been on the scene. He's been either deceased or just plain replaced. And when they've been running somebody either as a double or different people in a mask. And there's several actors on the stage right now in politics, all over the place, that aren't who we think they are, who say they are. But that's been happening for a while. But we won't get into that right now. We're still sticking to the politics. So BC United, Uniparty. Tanya Finley, she's a wonderful person. Brittany Anderson, you're a wonderful person. But hey, you're duped. You're duped. You're duped. You're duped. Your government is there to churn out this wage slavery soup of smart city poison food gobbledygook, right? Which we know better. We know that there's a clear, focused way to live with the land, with our God, with each other. The rest is just nonsense. So, and then the Green Party, they're just straight up communists. And you know what? This is the hard part, because Green Party's coming hard after this area. Nicole Charwood, they almost thought they had won this. They almost thought they'd taken it from the NDP. And so I'm listening to CBC the other day, as I do, to get my dose of misinformation and find out what's coming down the pipe, because they do announce their narrative. This, once again, they believe they can take this. They believe this is going to be a green area. And they have a good chance. There's a lot of do-gooders here, a lot of good green hearts that do not understand what a scam it is and what it's communism. This whole climate alarmism is just communism in disguise, and it's going to steal your freedom, it's going to steal your rights, it's going to steal your everything. That's what communism does. And it's coming now to a neighborhood near you under the guise of civilized eco this, that, green energy. Like I said, gobbledygook. None of it has anything to do with life or health or anything healthy. So, where do we go with this? What do we do? So I know I'm not going to win. This is the thing. There's too many people, but I've got to find my people. So like I said, this is a plan that I'm running for mayor of Nelson 2026. And I have 2 elections, provincial and federal, to convince, this is crazy of me, to convince the town of Nelson that I'm for real, and then they for real need me and my understanding of what's going on. How we need to get out of the medical system. We need to get out of the legal system. We need to get out of the UN system, which is going to control all of that. We need to buckle up. We may even have to pull out of the federal Canadian system. I know It's once again, this is going to paint a target on me talking like this, but Danielle Smith in Alberta, she's already dug her heels in, and we know she's slightly controlled opposition. She said some weird things about Chrystia Freeland, that twitchy little Nazi that is our deputy prime minister, who's on the board of trustees or whatever they call it for the World Economic Forum. Twitchy, as she's unaffectionately known around here in Canada. So Daniel Smith said some weird things about her, but like some nice things, unless she was being so darkly sarcastic, like, okay, we didn't get it. This man, it fooled us. It looked like she was actually being nice to Chrystia Freeland. Twitchy! But anyway, she, for one, with the if she separates medical, pension, oh my, like, yeah, it's they won't let her do it anyway. But if they do some sort of Wexit, which is the West exiting Canada, yeah, which, if you haven't heard about it, there is a movement called Wexit, where the West would secede. And I'm not sure where the line is drawn. I think it might be at the Manitoban-Saskatchewan border. I don't think Manitoba feels west. I think Manitoba is going east. But we'll see even how this pans out. This is all just blah, 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 blah. Anyway, so the game plan is to find out who's with it, who's watching, who's got this, right? Who's really checking this stuff out, because there's a crew in Winlaw that they protest on Saturdays, and there's a crew, they're out. I'm not talking about the leftist crew, the climate crew. There is another group, the Red Dress Group, that do protests around here. They definitely need some attention. It's the women, our Native women that are disappearing. Travesty. Stop it. It's got to stop it. But anyway, there are the anti-vaccine mandate crew that has come out strongly, as well as they know this climate action is just another way they're going to lock us down. Smart cities. I was reading this the other day. Somebody was like, "Oh, smart cities, like they're smartphone, smart. It's just because they're intelligent." No, smart is an acronym. It means surveillance, monitoring, and reporting technology. Surveillance, monitoring, and reporting technology. And that's the kind of cities they want. And 15-minute smart cities, so that you can track and trace you while they feed you the bugs, whatever it is, and charges for the air we breathe, carbon taxes, whatever they want to call it. It's hogwash. It's satanic. So, yes, I know it's crazy, and I know I gotta grow thick skin. I've already, like there's one gentleman I'm very close with. He's a friend of mine, I work with him sometimes, we come and contact each other. And he hears, I'm running, I'm going to, be in an election. He says, "Oh, great. You know what? What are some of your immediate policies?" Well, do away with the mandates. Vaccine mandates have to go. We have to rehire all the workers. We have to start paying retribution for any time lost, businesses lost, for all of that. We have to open the pathways to start charging some of these people. Bonnie Henry needs to be charged. She needs to get sent to prison for the thousands of people she's killed. and still killing to this day. But that's all going, and eventually, we have to get to a place with the companies that mandated this, because we've been, large percent of us. I have to admit it. I was vaccinated. I did it for work, right? I did 2 shots. It's probably gonna get me taken down. But anyway, the jabs, right? Apparently after 3 they starts getting nasty. But anyway, you hear about the AIDS, HIV. That woman that's just come right out and just said, yeah, we have an HIV sequence in there. That'd be. But emotionally charged topics. One of the big things is the land. Land usage has always been tricky. Nobody wants to give up their land. I'm going after the land. We need to spread out, not out, because I said that before. We're Canadians. We have the land. Like, stop. Like, we have abundance. You don't need to have the problems we're having. But anyway, so I use the 2 things to platform myself, and as well, hopefully in this channel, spread some information that people find helpful. They can start making intelligent choices. Because listen, hey, here's the thing. Compliance is the whole reason they got away with it. The whole thing, we're all walking around locked out of our businesses, lining up with stores, farms, arrows. We jumped through the hoops. We showed them we were going to do it. Yeah, we really messed ourselves up. So yeah, we've set the pace for some coming really, 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 really hard times. So what do we do? Well, here's the thing. Well, there's land, yes, so we get people situated, we get our homeless taken care of, we get survivalists thinking for our street people, and for our disenfranchised, less fortunate people, kicked around people, whatever, people that need survival tips, techniques. Maybe just a plot of land. It's like, I don't know, I want to give everybody an acre and say, go for it, man. Just do it. Homesteading. When are you homesteading? When do we have to stop? If you can make a living on a piece of land, then you should be able to have that piece of land. That's the thing. If you can make it go, And I've been on a 1-acre farm. This German family, beautiful German family in Salmon. Raised everything that you would need. They had ducks, they had fish ponds, they had rotating crops, they had making their own sausage, grains, bread. They're 100% self-sufficient on 1 acre. 1 acre and a lot of work, But I mean, not less than slave labor people do. They had a good life. And I mean, I forget what he did. He had a high-paying job. He was a well-trained German engineer. I think he was an architect. And so he would do these jobs that, let's just say, he wasn't homesteading. I mean, he had that state-of-the-art Pelton wheel, making electricity, state-of-the-art pens. Like, he had his ducks pens that were over his fish ponds, and then they could rotate his chickens. Like, he had it going on. But anyway, we all could be doing that. Or we could go straight hunter-gatherer. Some of my favorite people are northern natives, man. And they remember what it's like. You shoot your moose, or get a caribou, or a bear. And then the rest of the year, all you just need is a few rabbits and some grouse here and there. And you know where your wild potatoes are and your tubers, and you pick your berries and make your pemmican. But, you know, survival can be just a thing, where living is a thing, not this crazy stuff that we got going on. Wage slavery, I call it, right? And just barely getting by. And you know what? It used to be job, just over broke. Now they're jubs. They're just under broke. But they're not just under. They're rubs. They're really under broke. It's just, yeah, it's tough. Trying to decide, you know, how much compromise am I willing to do before my soul starts to die every day, before I start feeling like this life has any meaning, that I am doing anything, you know, that's worthwhile and enjoyable. You know, I think enjoyable might get a bad rap, you know. Everything that's fun is fattening, addictive. True. No, I mean not everything. But you have the decadence of our system, of our culture. We pay the price. I'm a firm believer that we're paying the price. Cancers, allergies. We're a sickly people. We're sick. Sick. You know, sickly. Unhealthy. Mind, body, and soul. And that makes us easy to control. So, you know, we're making somebody a lot of money just plugging away. Yeah. So that's the game plan there, politically. And there's things like fighting immigration. Now, the color ratio, you know, once again, not a racist. No, the same goes if you have to say it, you probably are, but listen. The immigration ratio is ramping up. Like, I'm deep interior BC, right, Nelson? So the immigration in itself, although we have a lot of international students, which has led to, has been fairly wealthy. The immigration itself has been fairly wealthy because they've bought up places. They're owning restaurants. They bought the Shells, the 7-Elevens. You know, it's, hey, stereotypes are stereotypes because they're stereotypes, right? So yes, they do own the 7-Eleven. The East Indians did buy the 7-Eleven. They bought the Shells and the Huskies and yeah, the gas bar. Basically, they bought every business that wasn't tied down. And so, yeah, there's a lot of money now flowing out. You know, they're also putting money in, I'm sure. Their kids are buying clothes and they're buying cars. There's that little trickle down, economic trickle down of anybody, but the main wealth and assets, it's not going to build the generational wealth of the founders of the town, or what the town is. But this is what this New World Order is about. It's destroying any loyalties that we had to any culture, any tribe, any group. Like, I'm a hardcore libertarian. I'm a tribalist. It's like, if you don't live on a piece of property, you should not have anything to say about what happens on it. And then my piece of property touches your piece of property and touches the next piece of property. And we're all exchanging goats, chickens, and furs, and we're all happy. And we decided that it would be faster if we just kept a road, together. So before you know it, we're like, well, hey, if we have a common storehouse and we've got a store, so we build a town. So now there's a bunch of us that are living just fine, making the rules for ourselves. And we might even trade with the next town because they make better candles than we do, or they have a couple of people there that sew really well. And we've got some wood carvers here that they like. So we're exchanging. Now I know it looks like I want to go all the way back to primitive, but if we don't, just wait till you see what happens when a supply chain gets cut off. Like right now, they're always saying the supply chain is going to get cut off, the supply chain is going to get cut off. And it's usually very, very strategic when it does. Like when the Evergreen boat gets stuck in the Suez Canal, or now the Houthis are attacking people in the Red Sea. And which was all just a pretense now that America's neck deep in the war. They've sent troops to Syria and they're bombing Yemen. Bombing Yemen. One of the poorest, saddest, most pitiful situation. I mean, the people aren't, people are people. They're honorable people. They deserve. They're children of God, you know. Not be children of the kingdom yet, but they're children of God. They're creations of God. And so, they shouldn't be bombing them. Yeah, no, it's a mess. So, yeah, dealing with immigration issues creates heat. Dealing with climate alarmists creates heat. So yeah, I've just described two things in Nelson, politically, that are coming down the pipe for me. And I'm taking them all on, because all three of them, Nicole, Tanya, Brittany, the NDP, BC United, and the Green Party, they're all the same party. They're corrupt, just a little more communist than the other, and they have just a little bit of different way of they're going to mess us up. They're going to take us down. Yeah. Green Party is probably the scariest of them all. But anyway, the only thing interesting coming up in Canadian politics is the People's Party of Canada, Maxime Bernier, and that they're a federal thing, so you know that's not going to play. And then we'll see when the federal election gets called how I play that, because yeah, I don't want to. For people that actually believe in elections, I mean, we know they don't. It's just a facade. I mean, if elections really work, they'd be illegal. But if you got to play along in order to educate people a little bit. So with my line for the federal election, it's more, look, I know I can't win, but PPC person should win. And they probably won't either. It's going to be between Rob Morrison, the NDP, what's his name? Stetsky. Yeah, Stetsky. And then the Green Party, you know, they're in there too. But the federal election one's going to be tough because we got to come after Trudeau hard. Yeah. So anyway, God bless you. I've just laid out pretty much my main political turmoil that I'm walking into. So pray for me, vote for me, and I'll see you soon.